Hi, Phil Aston here from Now Spinning Magazine with another tribute video. And this time it's for Les Binks, drummer, best known for being in Judas Priest. And as with all of these videos that I do when they're tributes, the first thing I want to say is this is dedicated to Les Binks' family, friends, and fans from around the world. I want this to be a celebration of the music and the memories that Les Binks has given to many of us, thousands and thousands of us from around the world. And I'm not going to go into lots of stats and statistics about what he played on and everything. All I'm going to do is talk about what Les Binks playing meant to me and the memories that he created in my heart and through my life in parts of the bands that he played in. I think that's always the most honest way of doing this. So this is just how Les Binks, his playing, has touched me since I first became aware of his name. The first encounter I had with Les was with The Butterfly Ball, which was a Roger Glover solo album, and it's an album that I'm going to do a big feature on the Now Spinning Magazine channel and website. And it was a cast of thousands, but Les Binks was the main drummer on the album. And this is 1974, so I was about 15, 16 years of age, and I think a bit older when I actually bought this album. The next time I encountered him was also connected to the Deep Purple family, and now we're in 1976. And this was the Wizards Convention, which featured David Coverdale, Glenn Hughes, John Lord, everybody you could think of. And Leslie Binks, as he was credited, was also on this, Mo Foster on bass as well. And the next one was the big one. It was the Sin After Sin album. Now, Les doesn't play on this. Simon Phillips plays on this. But Simon Phillips was a session drummer, really, just so they could get this album recorded. But on the tour, because by this time I'd bought Sad Wings of Destiny, and I'd bought this, and I couldn't believe it. Let Us Pray was my favourite track on the album. It still is one of my favourite Judas Priest tracks. And they were coming round to play at the Birmingham Odeon in 1977. And I couldn't get any of my friends to go because they didn't really know Priest. I discovered this as it was, a fairly new band, and I wanted to go. And I remember sitting on the right-hand side of the balcony, and I didn't know what to expect. And I remember Rob Halford appearing through all this dry ice, wearing like satin top and trousers, holding the mic above his hands. And they just opened with that track, and it was Les Binks on the drums. And it was absolutely amazing. They did, obviously, the set list was a combination of Sin After Sin and Sad Wings. Obviously, Victim of Changes, Genocide was on there, Tyrant, quite a few tracks from this as well. I think Disintegressor was on it, Diamonds and Rust, obviously, and Sinner. And I was just mesmerised. I became a huge Judas Priest fan from that moment. And I didn't know that it was a different drummer, because it wasn't they didn't make a big fuss on Sin After Sin, who played the drums. It was in small print that Simon Phillips was on it. So I could have thought easily it was Simon Phillips playing drums that night, because there was no tour program or anything, no badges, nothing. The band weren't at that stage where they could do that. But it was a fantastic night. And the great drum solo as well by Les Binks. I remember that distinctly. Next, and it seemed to come round so quickly, and I did have a look to see if I could find my Stained Class tour T-shirt, because I went to see them on the Stained Class tour, and obviously by this time this was the Birmingham Odeon, and I can't find my programme. It was only a single fold-out piece of card, but I did find my tour badge from 1978 from the Stained Class tour. But of course we had Let Us Pray on Sin After Sin. On this, we had Exciter. So this idea that Judas Priest would always have this kind of double bass drum driven track on an album was becoming to the fore at this point. But I know Pete Pardo at Sea of Tranquility, I think this is one of his favourite Judas Priest albums, and I think he picked it as a Desert Island disc recently. But this is a superb album. It's not one I play as much as some of the other Priest albums, but I've been playing it today in Savage, Heroes End, Beyond the Realms of Death, which of course Les Binks was involved in that track. I think he demoed it with Steve Mann, who's going to pop up in this story in a little while. Invader, Saints in Hell, and Better By You, Better Than Me, originally done by Spooky Tooth from the Spooky Tooth 2 album. But yeah, this is a great album to pay tribute to the drumming of Les Binks. But there is a better one for me to come. I also saw them again on the this is called Hellbent for Leather in the States, but for us it was called Killing Machine. And the tracks on here, Delivering the Goods, great track, Hellbent for Leather, Take on the World, Burning Up, Running Wild, which I'm going to come to very, very soon. And Les is on this as well. Great picture of Les. I'm not so sure about the pictures of the other guys on that. Some of them, especially Glenn, I wondered if you would have picked a different picture. But Les Binks looks fantastic. Great album. But the one where, make sure a record stand will slide on the floor, the album where all my friends caught up with Judas Priest was the next one, 1979. Sometimes unfairly called Unleashed in the Studio, was Unleashed in the East. If anything good comes out of Les's passing, I hope that somebody somewhere thinks it's time that Unleashed in the East was looked at to be released as a double live album. In the 1970s was the time of the double live album. And for Judas Priest to be given a single album release seems so unfair, really. But this is the album to play to understand the power and passion of Les Binks' drumming. Because this brings everything together from that point. Exciter, Running Wild, no comparison to the studio version at all. Sinner, K.K. Downing's Tortured Strat, because he was still playing one then, is just off the scale, really. Ripper, The Green Manalishi, has there ever been a better version? Diamonds and Rust and Victim of Changes, absolutely amazing. Genocide and Tyrant, and there was also a 12-inch single, which I have got. It's a clear 12-inch single. It's just clear vinyl with no label in between, and Beyond the Realms of Death is on that, which of course is, another place to really shine the light on Les Binks' inventive drumming. That is the album to play. My story actually creeps into the 80s when I was auditioning for bands after being in the Handsome Beasts, and I auditioned for a band called Titan, and this 12-inch single called Blind Men and Fools, which is, even though I didn't get the job, it's one of my favourite heavy metal tracks of all time. And Steve Mann is on here, and Les Binks is on here as well. A great band, and I know Kevin Riddles is still flying the flag for Titan. Great musicians, all of them. But this is another wonderful place to land to listen to the work of Les Binks as a drummer. Absolutely superb. And I was going to say, there's more stories about my time with the new wave of British heavy metal coming up, other things, but this isn't the time or place for that. Because this is about honouring the drumming skills of Les Binks. So today, go back to that classic period of Priest. All periods of Priest are classic in their own way, but this is all about Les Binks. And Stained Class is a great place to go. And it's a shame that there isn't anything, there isn't Let Us Pray from Sin After Sin with Les playing on it on a live album somewhere, because that is just an awesome track. But Unleashed in the East is, the fact he plays on that, one of the best heavy metal live albums of all time, means that his light will forever shine. So thank you, Les, for all the music. And again, family and friends and fans around the world, let's all remember Les Binks today. Remember, music is the healer and the doctor. Keep away from the news. Keep your focus on music. Keep spinning those discs. Take care, everybody, and I'll talk to you all very, very soon.